Unmuted time?
Yes, you are unmuted time. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I do not want to waste one single moment of this wonderful scene that's happening here. So, as you all sort of get together, and Nightscale is standing there, Stinky will go ahead and kick his legs and turn over and rivet his way back up onto the land, because Kretha did indeed do the ritual to bring him back.
And I was going to say, as Traxus got within touching distance of Echo, Echo's going to, like, just gently touch him and give him guidance.
Guidance.
You got this. You got this.
Great and mighty Nightscale. I told you once I would bring you back followers.
He looks around.
I'll point at Traxus.
And then he looks down. And he immediately, his demeanor changes just subtly. In fact, give me an insight check. It's not going to be a huge deal, but anybody who wants to make an insight check, go ahead and do so. So he kind of cocks his head at Traxus.
Sure.
And he says, "Is this true, small one? Are you here to serve?"
Gross.
And Traxus looks up and says, "Well, there are many of us who maybe don't think that serving in the Sunless Citadel is for us. So yes, this isn't Draconic, by the way. Anybody who can't speak Draconic is not understanding this. Yes. Calder is.
What is the precise number that the kobold quoted to us?
More than 12, less than 20. It depends on how this goes.
Cool. Over a dozen of these, over a dozen of these kobolds seek to enter into your servitude. It would have been a shame if you wasted such an opportunity by simply taking a late breakfast.
And as he sort of shakes his head again, all of the arrow scars on his face and neck become even more apparent, that are layered on top of each other. And he says, "And what will this cost me beyond your ability to simply traipse into my home whenever you wish?"
Oh, at present, I will gesture at the horde. But you have no claim to this anymore.
I am forced to agree.
However,
hordes can be rebuilt.
However, I am willing to release my claim to monetary reward in exchange.
He gets
free
really, really uncomfortably close to the kobold as you're speaking. Go ahead and finish your sentence.
I would have your blessing, as well as free passage for those that are seeking to defeat our shared enemy.
The orcs.
Yes.
Man, my Nightscale voice is not on point tonight.
Echo's gonna pipe up at this point. Hey, yo, you guys want to talk in common, please? Like, I say please to Calder, and I just kind of give Nightscale a look.
Nightscale utterly ignores your words. He is focused 100% on this kobold in front of him. And this would not be... I would not be giving him agency if I didn't give the kobold a role here. He has guidance. He also has advantage because Calder is clearly assisting. Calder, did you have more you wanted to say before I roll this persuasion check?
Your enemies made a critical error in becoming mine. We are ready to bring combined might to destroy them.
Yes, I have been unable to drive them from my shores on my own. They have not discovered the route that you took to my lair, but they have been coming in numbers. And again, he looks at the kobold. What say you? He looks up, and Traxxas does that thing that kobolds do. You know, where they sort of cower.
For social advantage?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And in fact, I believe mechanically it gives everyone else advantage on an attack, but that's not what we're using it for right now. And he says, this is we can rebuild your horde. We can steal from the orcs. We can rebuild, and you can make this an even grander place. And I'm going to go ahead and with advantage and a D4. And you know what? A D10 from Thomas as well. Who's still playing in the background, just idly. setting a background music for the scene.
I'm just imagining like the mariachi style guitar sting, the dun-dun.
So that's 15. That's 18. That's 28.
Ooh.
Fuck yeah, Traxxas, get it.
Nice.
Tiger's gonna fuck a dragon.
For a charisma 8 creature, that's pretty good.
I accept your terms. With one more of my own. If it is not already your goal to drive these orcs from the Stone Tooth, I would ask your assistance in ridding myself of this annoyance.
Which annoyance?
The orcs. And their incessant digging.
They are digging.
Diggy, diggy, hole.
Man, I wish I knew what this conversation was about.
I know, right?
I will say that ending their presence here is our goal.
Then we have an accord. Take the treasure. Take your part of the treasure. This is a necessary lesson for me, I think.
A DM?
Yes.
Per your ruling and per Fizzbands, I would like to reinforce. I'm willing to give up all Calder's gold claim to this horde in exchange for a dragon's blessing.
Oh, interesting. There's dragon's blessings. Yes, let's go ahead. I actually would need to look that up. So yes, the answer is 100% yes. Did you have something specific in mind?
I had a couple of ideas. We can discuss them at the end of the game.
Yeah,
but
we'll do that.
Say, but critically, it says specifically monetary reward. I still get my claim. I still have a claim of an item.
So yes, he will go ahead and, having recognized you collectively as well as Calder specifically as the superior fighter here, he will go ahead and confer some sort of blessing on you. We'll see what that is all about. I need to look that up because I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else you wanted to say or do?
It's like a mixture of two ideas. Like there is a mechanic within the game where you can forego gold reward in exchange for a feat.
Yeah. Oh, for a feat, really?
Well, but also in Fizzbands, if you impress a dragon or do a thing that a dragon likes, then it can give you a blessing, which has its own specific mechanics, or a feat. So
we will figure that out. Yes, I think that this is a good plan. And
I will turn to the group. I will now turn to the group and say, "We have an accord." And I will.
Are you speaking Draconic still?
I'll speak. I'm speaking in common.
Vic is gonna pull her AirPods out and go, "What?"
We have Traxxas has entered into Nightscale service. Nightscale will grant open passage between our people, the people that we designate as our allies in the removal of the orcs. He will assist. She will assist us, and critically, Nightscale has been forced to relinquish their claim on the horde.
Yep.
I, with an exception, my fair portion of this will remain in Nightscale's possession.
Sounds good. Hey, what have the orcs like been doing in here? Have they tried to come down here? And like Echo like walks up next to the kobold and just like is talking at the dragon in common.
Yes.
Nightscale has stated that in addition to the attacks, they have not found their way into this entrance yet. However, they have been digging, and it is apparently a deeply disturbing and unpleasant sound or experience to Nightscale.
Digging.
Digging. I don't trust that. I want to know what they're digging.
Durgadin awakens for just a moment. Again, he has been silent since you came here. You even used him in combat. He has not been he has not been saying anything, but you do get a very soft whisper of an almost panicked, "That's how they got in last time," in your head.
Oh my God. Kretha blurts out literally the exact same words. "That's how they got in last time."
Does she say it in Common or Dwarven?
Dwarven. She would do it actually in Dwarven out of panic, and then would correct herself and calm down a moment and then say it in Common.
But they're already in, aren't they? Wasn't there an extension of orcs already in the mountain before when you guys were here?
Apparently they have not managed to besiege they have not managed to successfully take the forge above us.
They hadn't taken
and Nightscale said the orcs hadn't reached the forge. That's the thing Nightscale said, yes?
Nightscale, yes? You're saying that
I will turn toward Nightscale. Have they reached the forge in Draconic?
He will go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to make another wisdom save. Just to see if he switches to the Draconic or not. Because, the common tongue is something he can do. And he's been surprisingly reasonable so far. No, he sticks to Draconic. Awesome.
Dick.
He says, "You should take a look at the waterfall where you came down. Your eyes will tell you more than my tongue can say."
Apparently, he's directing us to go to the waterfall where we first entered this area. I'll turn to Kretha.
Would you like me to move your tokens over there, or are we still doing stuff here on the island?
Well, we're going to search. We're going to take a moment to poke through the horde.
Holy crap!
I passed the bag of holding over to Calder. Like, here, fill this.
Second one.
Echoes.
I am lowering the. So Thomas is not taking a share of treasure. I am lowering the percentage of things in here by roughly 25%. I'm not doing super close math.
Don't include Lou in the party distribution.
I will not.
And don't include Calder in the gold distribution.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to distribute the gold, but I'm going to lower the amount of gold in the parcel before I do that. And yes, you're right. I will not include Calder for that. So that would be a 600. So that would be 18, 30 roughly. And
Echo hands it over, but is keeping his eyes on Nightscale.
45, 4,600 seems reasonable.
Cards. Also, we still have the weapon of warning. We're not gonna get surprised.
My math is almost certainly off. Okay, so things that you find in the horde, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do a very quick description because there's a lot of crap, and if it's something that I think you will have identified, I will tell you that it is. So there are gems.
There's a reason why I got the ring of. There's a reason I got the wand of identify.
Yes, there is a pearl. There is a garnet. There are a couple of potions. One of which is of flying. One of which is of healing. You're able to figure that out pretty easily. There's a shield that pings as magical. And there is a shard that looks very out of place in this place, like a crystal shard. That looks very out of place, even here in a dragon's horde. And finally, buried underneath the coinage, as though it was buried deliberately to keep it away from the surface, is a black crystal ring.
Ooh.
I will poke through it. I'll take the crystal.
Yeah.
I'll turn to Nightscale. I have two questions for you, Mighty One.
Before you do that, I do want to mention that the ring you recognize, it is the ring that was used to resurrect corpses on behalf of Clarion and
You
Clarion.
mean the whistle? You mean the whistle?
Not the ring, a whistle. Yes, it was a whistle, not a ring. Sorry.
Okay, cool. I will pick up. Calder will make a point to claim the whistle.
Yes, it was a whistle. Right. I have a memory. Objects are permanent.
Yep.
So yes.
I do want to make a general insight check into Nightscale as he's watching us go through the horde and just his general kind of demeanor.
Okay. Go ahead and make that.
Aww.
A 9.
It's hard to read expressions on a dragon's face.
It's not actually hard to read expressions at all. He looks fucking annoyed. He does not look like he likes what's happening at all. And it's not particularly difficult to tell.
It looks like this.
Hold on, I gotta get back to our faces so that I can see what you're seeing.
It looks like this.
Kitty!
Oh.
Yeah, she keeps bothering me, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick her up, and she does not like that.
So
but she smells really good right now.
I'm gonna I know what the whistle is. I'm going to use the wand of identify on the crystal.
Awesome. The crystal is a spell shard, which is normally found in the Eberron campaign.
Shard of magic.
And now that it's identified, the shard, so it's what it is, as you're thinking about it, you're like, this isn't going to help me much, but it's basically a spell book. It's basically a spell book in rock form. So it can hold spells like a spell book can. And the creator can set a passphrase that must be spoken to access the information stored within.
You can also use it as like a normal journal. You don't have to put spells on it if you don't want to.
Also true.
It's just it's a notebook.
Cool. Still a sorcerer. Don't care about spell books.
You have one.
No, it's literally full of dirty limericks.
Yeah, but you call it a spell book.
I love that hasn't come. That's been on your sheet since the day one of Sunless Citadel. It has not come up yet.
You spend an hour every morning looking at what? I look good today.
I'm adding this horde into the party sheet, including things that are and are not already. Where is it? There it is.
Are you including all the toss of coins in this loot?
I am doing that now.
5.
There were 5 of them, right? So 1880. I'm mathing.
Woo! You're mathing.
There we go. Okay. Into the party sheet it goes. And yes, there are a few things. One particular item of note that I want to mention is you find as you're sort of digging through things, and again, Nightscale is now doing the cat thing where he's trying very, very hard to pretend he's not noticing you all rifling through his stuff and messing up his very, very carefully arranged piles.
If it matters, we are not rifling through them. We are sweeping it directly into a bag.
One thing that you notice, in addition to everything else, there are multiple magical items that will take some time to identify, but you do note what appears to be like an ivory stick, and in the center of the ivory stick, there is a big red button.
You mean the iron rod?
No, it's an ivory stick. I'm gonna change the descriptions later. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not iron, it's ivory. Or at least it looks like ivory. You can't really tell. And it's got a big red button in the middle. And you'll notice that as you're sweeping things aside.
I see something called Nightcaller? Should we know what that is?
That's the whistle.
Nightcaller is the whistle.
Okay.
I will be claiming that.
Yeah, the whistle goes, I assume, around your neck or whatever. It does still have that chain that you can put it around your neck with.
It's a weird stone with mystic sigils on it.
Is there anything else you're immediately using charges from the Identify wand on?
I'm going to use my Ritual Identify spell on all of these at some point.
Totally.
So we can stand here and click a wand if we want to, but we can also wait until later.
The iron rod, I suspect I know what it is, but
it's an ivory rod.
I made it out of ivory rather than iron, but yes, it does have a big red button in the middle.
As opposed to an ivory button.
Calder briefly entertains the idea of asking Nightscale and then just points the wand at the thing.
You point the wand at the thing. It is probably exactly what you thought it was. What you find is an immovable rod. The button will suspend it in air, and because physics in this game does not work the way physics in real life does, and movement isn't actually relative, you can push the button and it will simply stay in place regardless of how it's attempted to move. In fact, I believe it takes like a DC 30 strength check to change or to move it once it is set in the air. I will go ahead and identify that.
Calder will laugh and Echo, I believe you would want this.
Yay, a stick!
He will put it in Echo's hands, have it lift as far overhead as Echo can reach, and then tap the button.
And suddenly, it's just stuck in the air, like a parallel bar.
What?
Okay.
Clicks the button. Hell yeah!
I feel like Echo can American Ninja Warrior this by just like
salmon ladder. Yes.
So Vic is gonna finish packing up everything else and goes, this is great, excellent. I'm definitely gonna want to identify these. Not right exactly here. Like this feels like the wrong spot to do most of these. Ties a knot. So why don't we keep moving?
Nightscale actually looks kind of appreciative that you're like, let's get going. Nightscale's like, see, here's a person that knows to respect someone's personal space after they're done ransacking it.
At the end of with only the small pile that would have been Calder's is left, Calder will approach Nightscale.
Okay.
You had agreed to a blessing.
Yes.
Should we just go with he decided to not do a murder?
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be like the dragon touches and leaves like a branded mark.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So Nightscale reaches a claw up to his own mouth and pulls a string, like a gooping string of acid off of his outside of his mouth and slowly brings his claw towards you, coated in this acid, and will etch a sigil on Calder. Pick a location.
Like, what do you hold out?
Calder will hold out his left arm.
Okay, so like the back of the forearm.
Mm-hmm.
And with surprising delicacy for such a large creature, he will carve essentially with the acid a sigil into your arm. I'm gonna go ahead and have you take 3 points of acid damage.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the heroism's gone, by the way, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And we will come up with what the sigil looks like together, but it's going to be pretty awesome one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel like you can feel not only the pain radiating from it, but the power.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And Calder will look up at Nightscale and bow his head.
And again, reluctantly,
I would never, and we'll look Nightscale dead in the eye in all seriousness. We'll state, I would never seek to enslave or dominate one as powerful nor as beautiful as you.
You seek to salve my ego. It's a little bit late for that, but I appreciate your words nonetheless.
It is not. It was not. It was never a fair contest. I've gotten much stronger, and you have been weakened by weeks of war. I look forward to our next meeting after this business is concluded.
I hope you will not take offense when I say that I do not.
Calder will laugh at that and nod. I very much understand. And with that, he'll turn and he'll actually step away per royalty procedures. Will offer a very curt and deeply respectful bow, and then leave with the rest of the party.
I'm not leaving yet. Hold on. I want to do one thing before we leave.
Go ahead. I know I unshared the map. I'm going to move you all.
That's
what are you
fine.
up
I don't
to?
need the map. First question, in the leftover pile of treasure, would there be like a metal bowl or something?
Like just a standard
just a bowl.
regular
like
bowl?
A bowl.
I'll say sure. Yeah, why not?
So as we're leaving, Kreetha gets off of Stinky, turns around, comes back, reaches down, picks up the bowl, looking at Nightscale the whole time, casts Goodberry, fills it up, and then puts it down in front of him. And then turns around and leaves.
Love it.
Just
love it. So, if you recall, and I know I unshared the map, there were a series of sort of rickety bridges that you kind of wanted to cross one at a time. And
we have brooms of flying.
And it took you, that's true. So from overhead,
yes.
there were those areas, and you come back to the waterfall. Yes, the waterfall where everything kind of started, and you note a couple of things right away. First off, the chain ladder that was used that you used to come down here the first time is nowhere to be found. It is completely gone. Secondly, the water and land around the waterfall has bodies. Orcs and Dwerger. I'm going to need an investigation check specifically if you're looking closely. But at the very least, you see at least a dozen orc bodies and several Dwerger as well.
It's not the best one, but...
I think... Can I make a medicine check looking at these corpses?
What are you looking for specifically?
Initially he's just like, is there an obvious cause of death? Like, did they fall down here or were they already dead before they fell?
Go ahead and make that medicine check.
Yeah.
I rolled a nat 20 on the investigation.
I see it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. On the investigation check, yes, most of the bodies, and some of them are underwater, and some of them are kind of leaning in the water. Some of them look like, with a 20 and a 22, that maybe large dragon-sized scale or a dragon-sized claws dug out a hole and filled it with water to let them soak. You know at least a little bit about black dragons and that they like to have their food kind of putrid. I'm not going to go ahead and describe any further than that because we're treading on lines. But there are bodies. The other thing that you notice, both Calder and Victoire, is that at least one or two of these dwarves aren't gray. And in fact, you do note specifically one dwarf that you do not recognize who is wearing the Boulder Shoulder signet. Gale, Echo feels like, though he can't quite tell the exact cause of death, it is clear that all of these people fell from on high. None of them look like they were killed by a dragon. Some of them have bite marks on them, but they look post-mortem. It looks like these poor, maybe innocent in some cases, but these poor people definitely fell from the top of the waterfall and hit the ground. You can't tell whether that was what killed them or not.
Does Calder or Victoire, with their high results, do they point out the Boulder Shoulder corpse?
Calder would, with he'll look at it, wait a beat, and go, and will direct Echo to investigate the corpse.
Echo will get the broom as close as possible, but then hop off and go pull that corpse out of the pile to do
So-
a further investigation.
You can't quite tell. You don't think that this is a member of the Boulder Shoulder family specifically, but you do recognize the kit of a scout, of someone whose job was to infiltrate and get the lay of the land. You figure he was probably doing his job.
Cousin Barles.
He was probably doing his job, but got caught up in something and ended up down here. You don't believe he was attacked by Nightscale, but you do believe that there was something horrible that happened and he ended up falling a long way onto the very pitiless rocks below.
Rough.
I don't know if Echo himself probably knows enough if there is some sort of, like, I don't think these guys have dog tags, but if there's any sort of signet ring or any sort of like bead in his hair.
Yeah,
would,
you can find something
like
identifying on him, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no problem.
My initial guess is that this is some sort of sacrifice or feed pit in an attempt to appease Nightscale.
It might just be the easiest way to get rid of the people who are fighting over the forge is up there, right? Points
Yes.
up the waterfall.
Yes.
And if it's constantly being fought over, wouldn't they just shove the dead bodies down here?
Possibly.
And
The fact that the corpses are mixed is interesting.
I think almost everyone except for Vic, maybe on passive insight, can tell that Echo is not just a little shaken from seeing the Adbar dwarf. He is like, his eyes are roaming between the Adbar dwarf and the Grey dwarves and the orcs, and he seems like he's really upset. Something is unsettled in him at all of these corpses.
There is also, Grey Dwarves have a mount creature. I don't remember what they're called, so I'm going to pull it up really quick. But there are creatures down here as well. I'm pulling it up really quick. Damn, I don't have. There are creatures that are known to be like mounts for Dwerger. There are a couple of those down here as well. I'll come up with a description as soon as I have one.
Yeah. I know it's like probably deafeningly loud down here at the base of the waterfall. Is there any light or anything that we can see towards the top? Any sign of activity towards the top of the waterfall?
No. It's absolutely dark. And, I mean, it's not still or quiet because of the waterfall, but, like, yeah, you do not see or hear anything, regardless of perception checks.
Echo is, while he's down here and he took the identifying mark off of the Adbar dwarf, he is going to start looking over the orcs for identifying clan symbols. And he'll take a minute, like, pulling one orc corpse, looking over it, pulling another. Like, this is what he'll be spending the rest of the time down here doing.
Okay.
Do we want to take a short rest? Do
hands?
we want to take a short rest down here before we proceed upward?
I don't want to do it next to the pile of bodies.
Well, this is going to be our last chance before we go into the place with the very living bodies.
Oh, they're kind of cute.
A steeder is essentially a large spider that the Dwerger have trained. So there are a couple of those down here as well. Very much in corpse form, at least one of which is more than partially eaten.
Mm.
It does seem like Nightscale's been eating well. And exercising a lot.
Echo doesn't seem to be intent on a rest down here, even if y'all want to take one.
So are we resting or are we flying up the...
It sounds like we're going up because no one wants to rest.
Yeah.
Should I
Not
make
here.
an investigation check real quick for that? Any identifying things on the orcs?
Yeah, go ahead and make that check. We'll see if we find anything.
Can I also do this?
Yes and yes. No problem.
I would like to aid Vic.
Excellent. Vic now has advantage,
Oh.
but it doesn't matter.
Fuck yes.
Excellent. So there are orcs representing multiple clans here, which is a little bit of a problem. But with a 28, I got to give you something more than that.
So Vic doesn't know shit about orcs, but we'll be like, so these patterns are different. And this one is also different.
Yep.
This one looks like this one, but the colors are wrong.
So now that Vic has pointed it out, anybody who has any sort of knowledge of orc culture, and I think anybody with, like, yeah, obviously Kreetha, as well as pretty much anyone with a lot of noble heritage, like, has heard tales, the clan sigils are still being held, but each and every one of them has a single deep furrow scratched through it, like on a diagonal. So regardless of, like, different clans have different symbols, they have different things. Not everyone has different ones, but there are multiple different clans represented, but every single clan sigil has a single deep furrow scratched right through the middle of it.
That's not great.
Would I recognize what that means?
Best guess is that it means that they have rejected their clan.
That's the best guess you could come up with, yeah.
Or they've been rejected by their clan.
Either way, well, the fact that it's a shared mark indicates that it's self-inflicted.
But they're still
Something
carrying the symbols around.
It means that they still believe that they are members of that tribe, but they are otherwise holding themselves apart from them for some reason.
Movement should be unlocked now, so you can move around slowly if you would like.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that there's so many clans up there now. They've all come together. So I don't know if they have left or if they have been forced out. This may be a common thing. Like
that is pointless speculation until we know more.
So is yours. I mean, yes.
Echo keeps one of each of the different symbols that they find. Like, he puts that away.
We don't know what it means, and we don't have enough information to surmise. Let's move on.
Oh, Kreetha, you should drink this. Hands her the greater healing potion.
Thomas will put up his hand and say, "No, please. You may need these." And he will
I've got lots of others.
He will walk forward towards Kreetha and offer a spell slot is a much more temporary cost. And yes, he actually uses the word spell slot. Deal with it. So he'll heal 10, although maybe you'll want to drink the thing anyway because you are really, really hurt.
Yeah. It's it is 8d4 plus 8 that it'll heal you for.
Now that you're up here, there is a faint glow that did not exist the last time you were here. There is a faint red glow coming from the west, coming from where you know the Forge of Fury to be. Again, a red glow that was not there the last time you were here.
Jen, do you want me to roll the potion?
Yeah, let's roll for the potion. It's probably best if I'm not.
All good, and I will add your... Wow, that's a lot of D4s. Okay,
so
you're...
plus 8, so you get 30 back.
Completely and wholly cured.
Oh
no, you still have 8 wounds.
No, I still have 8 wounds.
But it's a big chunk.
That's
chunk.
a big chunk.
I now just have a small scratch on my face. And
the downside to having a ton of HP is that it takes a lot of healing to get you back up.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on Kreetha.
Do it. Everyone's like fussing over Kreetha at the moment because she did take a full-ass multi-attack from a dragon that I think hit every time, although he might have missed once.
I missed once. I missed that last time.
Okay, that gets Kreetha up to full.
Now I'm full.
So you're feeling like $1 million gold now.
Echo just has the one sexy claw mark across the chest.
He's like, no, I'm gonna pierce it so it stays like this.
So talk to
He's
me a
not
little bit
worried.
about your next move.
Okay. I think Traxxas should stay down here, and unless we have a way to carry Lou with us up on the brooms, Lou might want to stay down here and guard him. Maybe Stinky as
Traxxas
well.
is staying
Lou
down with
travels
Nightscale.
I
on the
mean,
brooms
and
in the
I
first
haven't been
place.
using the brooms. I'm on Stinky. Stinky can jump. It's not an issue.
You're gonna climb up the wall?
Yeah.
On
That's
Stinky?
what I did last
Right.
time.
Right.
I mean, literally. Remember last time?
I wasn't here.
we are
Did you hit your head?
we are Jen at some point going to have to decide whether Stinky has a climb speed or a swimming speed, but we'll do that another time. I think that having both is not going to work out overall from a balanced perspective, but we'll that's a future problem. That's a problem for future us.
Okay.
So you are all up here, and Lou, I feel like Victoire could easily, rig up some sort of harness to pull him
Lou's
up.
been backpacking. I
Okay.
have a baby beyond.
Yeah, that's
Right,
what I
there you
figured.
do.
That is adorable, and I want art of that right now.
All right, so your baby be warning.
God.
Echo will take Thomas on his broom, and then we're leaving Traxxas down
Calder.
here.
Right. Should probably put you on there
so
too.
Traxxas can get acquainted with, the new girl.
Just to kind of get a feel for the lair, maybe explore a little bit of the caverns down here to kind of see, like, okay, we push off this wall and we can make a little egg room over here. Like, let him look at the layout.
Let him go full Sally Homemaker.
Like, which area of the cave we're going to turn into Nightscale's spa?
So we're not taking Traxxas with us up to the forge. We're
Right.
leaving him down here in the lair area.
Yes.
Okay.
Can
Yeah.
you move yourselves around? Is that a thing you're able to do right now?
Well,
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
I've been like theater of the minding at most of it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, totally. That's fine.
I don't want to do this, but sure.
I'll walk over the
Before we head up, who's least stealthy? Blessing of the Trickster on Vic. So you have advantage on stealth.
So we're trying to be stealthy, right?
We're
Well, I
trying
mean,
to be
there's
stealthy.
There's a lot of noise to hide behind and mist with this waterfall, so might as well.
Jeff, were you about to say something?
I'm going to cast invisibility on myself.
Perfect. Calder vanishes.
And I'll be on the broom, so I'm just going to coast invisible.
You're coasting around invisibly. Okay, that's all
screw
good.
it. Pass without a trace.
Fuck yeah.
So everyone gets
Yeah.
plus 10 to stealth.
We all
Everyone
ascend.
gets plus 10 to stealth. Yes.
Love you, Krika.
Ridiculous. Absolutely. So that means that Calder.
We're gonna say I did that
has
before
both.
you went invisible because I have to be
Okay.
I can elect that you see me because you know
Yeah.
where I am.
And then we go up the shaft.
I'm going to leave that one alone. So as you move into the forge, it looks like Calder on a broomstick invisibly and everyone else sort of creeping ahead. Go ahead and get up to right about where Calder is and then stop because I got a thing for you.
Edge because I'm along the
Stealth
line.
check.
So I'm on the wall. So I'm following this edge.
So that'll be a 32 stealth.
Or I break the map. What?
No, that was me.
Oh,
That was me. I pulled up a new image.
okay, cool. I accidentally closed the image because it wasn't working for me anyway.
You've seen it.
24.
You shared
I've seen it.
before.
I know what the Forge of Fury looks like.
Yes.
It
So
looks furious.
it is, not only does it look furious, but it looks active.
I am glad I gave you that blessing.
Okay, just as a player question here,
Yeah.
are we above the waterfall now, or
Yes.
are we still at the bottom?
Yes, you are at the top of the waterfall. And in fact, I believe in the area you're in, yes. The room that you're in has some box text, which I think I lost. But regardless,
Looks
there are a
very
couple of
similar to
bridges.
below the waterfall.
There are a couple of bridges going over a fairly fast moving. At this point, I'd probably call it more of a creek than a river. It's only about 5 feet wide, but it is a fast moving channel of water. And those of you who have been in the Forge of Fury before, in the Stone Tooth before, know that this network of waterways kind of crisscrosses all the way through the entirety of the mountain. But there are a couple of like little 3-foot wide bridges going back and forth across it. And I'm going to do a quick description because things are a little bit different than the last time you were here. And now that you get a chance to really look around, I need to do a little bit of description. Because first off, there is blood everywhere. Not bodies, not body parts. There is blood on the ground, on the walls, and there are large piles of like iron debris here and there that you don't recall seeing, those of you who were here before, the last time. And moreover than that, the forge, even though it has nobody working it, is glowing red with magical power. Almost as though, like, forges require you to pump a bellows to heat things up, right? It looks like there is lava flowing through the forge to keep things hot, even though nobody is currently using it.
That's fun.
That's also not normal.
And you said, as far as we can see, nobody else is here right now.
Give me perception checks all around.
Can I use, is it a scent-based thing?
It is not scent-based, it is only visual-based, but good question. You smell, honestly, a lot of iron, both blood iron and iron. Like, that's the overwhelming
blood iron
smell.
is iron.
Yes, that's what I mean. So it's a very, very harsh metallic smell. Kretha.
Yeah.
So you're sort of creeping forward. You see all of these.
Yeah, I'm on the wall. So
And
where I am, I'm on the wall. So I'm not on the ground.
Durgadin again begins to sort of stir in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But you feel like fear, but not fear of the here and now. You feel the echo of the fear that he felt when his citadel fell in the first place.
Yeah. I'm feeling
but
trauma.
He's definitely sort of kind of aware, you think, of what's going on.
Yeah. But
And
he's also deep into PTSD.
And yes, he also like he is able to convey to you the idea that you need to be cautious here.
Yeah.
That this has become a dangerous place, but he's not able to communicate to you in any way why or how.
Yeah.
But there's something about this place that's obviously different.
Yeah, I get trauma. Plus, I felt a lot of that trauma from Andoril. So
also true. Yeah.
If nothing else, Kretha's gotten fairly good at understanding that trauma, although she's really not good at dealing with her own trauma, as evidenced by what happened a few games ago. But all right then. Yes. So I'm just creeping along the wall. Like I'm kind of up and like in the shadows as much as possible because I'm being a stealth on a stealth frog.
Yes, Echo is also like up on the broom with Merryweather, like weaving around the stalactites on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Echo's looking for combatants, but and I'm assuming that the people who were here before told Echo about the weird bat insect things that like to be on the ceilings here, so he's keeping an eye out for those.
No Sturges, but yes, good point. Calder, as you get close to that particular forge there, you're invisible, undetectable as far as you can tell, and the forge flares a little bit brighter as you get closer. It doesn't look like you've been noticed, but your physical proximity to that particular forge seems to make it glow a little bit brighter. If you pull the flying,
warp piece of metal that's vaguely short-shaped.
No, I was going to say if you pull your broomstick back, the glow dims a little bit. If you get closer, it radiates a little bit more brightly.
Interesting.
Vic is just gonna go touch the forge.
Okay. There's a bit of forge like right underneath you that is also very much touchable, and just because on the picture it looks like only one forge is active, it's not. All of them are on. All of them are like clearly ready to go. You go up and touch the forge, and
totally like touch it.
A sound, which I forget what it sounds like for the rapier, immediately rings in an alarm. Immediately rings in all of your heads, and I need initiative.
It's a high-pitched keening alarm.
I need initiative again, please.
Go.